All right, man. My day was super hectic out of nowhere. I was trying to go for a run, and then
Mhm.
my wife had to help someone with an audition, so she left. And I didn't want to leave the dog alone because we need to retrain him to be alone. And then
Oh.
um, I went for the run like right before my meetings for the day. So I like ran as fast as I could. I only did like a mile and a half, and then I came back. I was like, I got a shower still, and then I was like jumping to get into my meetings and prep dinner because I was like, I gotta talk to Russell at 7. I gotta get dinner ready. So it just got real hectic out of nowhere. And then my wife misunderstood me. I said I was talking to you today. She thought I was just having a chat with you, just like to catch up. And I was like, no, I'm recording the recording the chat. So I'm trying to like have a quiet moment to do it. So she's streaming for a couple hours still, and then I'll be talking to you here in the living room.
Cool.
How you been? Well, I guess if someone's listening to this, who are you?
Uh, I'm Russell, and I'm a concept artist. I've been taking art seriously for about, well, I don't even know how many years now, since like 2012, around there.
Yeah.
That's when I started taking it seriously, and then freelanced for a bit, and yeah, I worked in a studio for 6-ish years. I started there as a junior, and then worked my way up to like a lead eventually. Um, and then layoffs happened, so I'm back to freelancing now. But
Got it.
yeah, just I'm a freelancer now, pretty much.
Yeah. I'm just putting a reminder in. That's We've known each other though for about as long as you've been taking this seriously. Um,
I think so, yeah.
so,
I think it was in 2012, 2013, probably, that we
yeah,
crossed paths. Maybe
yeah. We
it's kind of crazy.
That's I guess I need to get better at this. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the talk, the chat. I don't want to call it a show. It's more of a chat. Um, this is Russell Jones, concept artist. My name is Miguel Coronado III. And we've known each other since around 2012 because 2012 is when I quit my haunted house job and started focusing on illustration. So that was the exact year that I started diving into this seriously. And I went to Crimson Dagger's forum to start studying, and I think that's where we met, on the forum.
Yeah. Were you? Did you start? Or did you ever go on concept.org, or was it just straight to the daggers?
I was on concept art like years before. I posted infrequently.
Okay.
Um, while I was still at the haunted house, I started posting on concept art, but I was barely getting comfortable with my Wacom tablet still at that time.
Hmm.
And I took a class with the art department with Vanessa Lemon and Ron Lemon.
Oh,
Well,
cool.
specifically Vanessa Lemon. I think she was the one instructing it, and it was like an oil painting class. So I took that while I was working. So I would listen to the class at work secretly on my headphones, and then I would do my work at home and like upload pictures for review. But that was kind of what I was doing. That was just before I quit, and then I just stopped everything and moved back in with my parents and was like, okay, I'm going to focus on illustration now. But
Hmm.
yeah, but did you start posting on Crimson Daggers, or were you on conceptart.org first?
Yeah, it was daggers first for me. So
Daggers first.
yeah, I found out about it through DeviantArt. There was an
D-
artist on there that um had the daggers forum linked on his profile, and
Got it.
yeah.
Okay. I was wondering how you found out because I found out I knew illustrator in Austin named Alex Yacarino. He's a poster artist. He's he's still active. He's really good poster
Oh, cool.
artist, and I met him at a coffee shop because he drove a car that said like Zombie Squad, like it was like a police car, but it was like a zombie car, and it was at the coffee shop, and I was still working at the haunted house at the time, and I thought it was another haunted house like advertising themselves. So I walked into the coffee shop and I was like, "Whose car is that?" And then he was like, well, "That's my car," and I was like, "Oh." And I said, "I want to meet you," and so that was how we met. And then then
Oh, dang.
he was he was like, "Well, I draw," and we met up at a coffee shop back in. It was probably at that time. It was probably 2009. I think it was a few years before I quit, and we were at the coffee shop, and he was like, "Yeah, like I'm on the Crimson Daggers forum. Have you heard of Dave Raposa?" And he showed me one of like Dave was streaming at that moment when he was like at the coffee shop. He showed me the stream, and I was like, "Oh, that sounds cool, whatever." And then I kind of just like blew it off, and then like um he showed me his illustration he was doing,
Mm-hmm.
and it was this crazy Last of Us poster, and it was incredibly detailed. And I was like, "Wow, man, that looks really good. How long did that take you?" And he was like, creeping up on the 40-hour mark." And that was the first time I'd ever heard anyone say like they worked for 40 hours like on one image.
Yeah.
I was like, "Holy shit!" And I was like, I've never worked that long on like anything, like except for the haunted house. Well, my day job, but that was kind of like my first peek into the world of like professional illustrator.
Dang.
Um,
That's really cool. It's funny, like just through coming across this car at a coffee shop. It's kind of crazy.
yeah, it's because I used to be really. I mean, I still kind of am. I was really competitive with the haunted house industry. Like we were like we're the best,
Mhm.
and so we wanted to know any if there's any competitors coming up, we wanted to know who they were.
Mhm.
But yeah, I went to the forum briefly, and then I was like, whatever. I work at a haunted house. I just didn't really think about it. Um, but in 2012, that's when I started posting on there regularly, because at that point I had started I had started practicing editorial illustration, like for like magazines,
Oh, okay.
and I was trying to do editorial illustration, but I had no idea like how to do it properly, like plan it out. And then I was
Mhm.
like, "This is hard." And I was like, "I'm just going to focus on concept art," which I thought for some reason was easier. Um, but that was kind of my transition from just drawing random stuff to like posting regularly. But I think I don't know how I found you. I think you were just on the forum and we just responded to each other's threads like at the same time.
Must have been, yeah. Yeah, I remember there was because we had our personal sketchbooks, and
Yeah.
then I remember there was like a group thread we made for like daily
Mm.
studies or something.
Daily study group.
Um, yeah, yeah. I think that's where we started to chat a little bit more, maybe.
Yeah, the daily study group. That was me because I had been listening to Dan and Dave's streams at that point on a regular basis. Whenever they streamed, I was
Mhm.
listening, and they just kept talking about how, like, oh well, I just started studying on stream every day for like a couple hours every day on a regular basis, and I was like, well, if it worked for them, I mean, it's got to work again. So I was like, I guess I'll do that. Um, and that's when I started the daily study group, and I was like, I'm just gonna get up early and just do a couple hours of studies before I do anything. I was gonna say work. I wasn't even working at the time, so it was like before I did just other stuff throughout the day. Um, what was your first freelance gig?
Uh, I think it wasn't until 2014 I did my first freelance gig, and it was I don't know what you call them, but it's like those little D&D module things that people
Oh yeah,
kind of independently do.
yeah, yeah,
I did, yeah, I did some of that kind of stuff for a company, and yeah, I worked with them for like a while actually. Like I did quite a few jobs with them, and it's funny looking back and like seeing the growth throughout each like commission they had me do. Like it was yeah, it was nice. I kind of used like I didn't really pay that much, like probably like $50 in a picture, but like it I kind of used it as a like, oh, I'm getting paid to to learn, basically, like
Yeah.
extra motivation that way. That's how I rationalized like getting paid pennies basically for the time I put in.
That's the same thing that happened to me. Like I was my first was a card game from boardgamegeek.com, and
Oh, okay.
I like posted on the like it was like there's an art forum where you like say you're available, and this guy reached out
Hmm.
to me and was like, I'm doing a card game of like famous world leaders from throughout the world, and like so I had to paint like Montezuma and Harriet Tubman. I think I had to paint these like famous people, and that was like my first job. I was like illustrating them for this card, but it only paid like very little. It was like I forgot how much. It was like around $100 or something for the different
Hmm.
ones, and but it was the same. Where I was like, well, at least I was gonna paint anyway. I was gonna like try and practice anyway, so at least I'm getting money. Like it's better than nothing,
Yeah.
which I think is the first thing most artists kind of think about when they get that first job. Is like, well, it's better than not getting money. like,
Yeah.
like,
It's better than nothing.
yeah.
Yeah.
What? So what made you want to do art? Like, what have you always been drawing? Were you like? I never think I've ever asked you
Uh,
this. It's just funny that I've never asked you this
yeah.
before.
Yeah. Pretty much always been drawing. Um, yes, as a kid, I was like doodling and stuff, and I actually drew a lot as a kid. And then like high school, I kind of stopped a bit. Like it was more so just like doodling here and there in like the margins of like school books and whatnot. And then yeah, nearing the end of high school, I was yeah, I don't know, I didn't really have much going on, and like I think I was looking at like Grand Theft Auto fan art. I don't know
Oh
if you know the
yeah.
artist Patrick Brown, but he did like those like kind of characterized Grand Theft Auto fan art things all the time.
Oh, that was him.
Uh, yeah, and I just would look at those, and somehow I went from that to like finding Brent Hollowell. I don't know if you remember him. He did like all the
Yeah, I remember Brent.
creature and
Is he
daggers.
still posting?
I don't think he posts that often, but he's still. I know he's still working and stuff. Like he just post magic art once in a while.
Okay.
But yeah,
Yeah.
he was like my first like, oh, this is like a yeah person that's actually trying to do this as a career and whatnot that I found.
Yeah.
Which is pretty influential for me.
I found I found that common that certain I feel like at a certain point in most artists' career, you just stop hearing about them, but they're just working on a regular basis, but just not like frantically posting all the time anymore. And they're just,
Yeah,
there's a bunch of artists I know that like were big back, I guess 10 years ago. They were big 10 years ago, and I just haven't heard anything from them. And they're quietly just posting on Instagram still, but they're not really doing like other things. They're just kind of posting randomly.
yeah, or sometimes they're just working and just life
Yeah,
happens and
I think, yeah.
get busy with different things, and that's pretty common.
So you were drawing as a kid. Did you keep sketchbooks, or was it just like random pieces of paper? What was your style?
Just random pieces of paper. Actually, I'll send you a photo because I just found this yesterday actually.
Okay,
But it's just like a it's like a tabletop just like covered in paper.
nice.
Let me see this. Just the table just like covered in loose paper everywhere.
Oh wow,
I don't
yeah,
know what year that was, but yeah, I doodled a lot as a kid.
yeah. That's great. I've got that same. I have have that old computer paper with the dots on the side.
Oh yeah.
That was how it used to be. Like because the paper had to like be cranked out by like a little
Mhm.
sprocket. Um, yeah, I had that kind of paper, and I have a binder still. I took all my sketchbooks with me when I moved, so I've got a binder still of like old drawings from sometime around third grade, I think. The third grade or first grade, one of the two. and
Oh shoot.
I have them saved in this binder, and it's just part of my sketchbook collection. It's just this binder, and it was loose pages back then. I didn't get my first
Hmm.
sketchbook until I was in the fourth grade, and my mom started buying me sketchbooks, and that became kind of like a diary, not a diary because I didn't write anything, but it was like I've had sketchbooks basically from fourth grade up until now. I've had them all my life.
Dang, you started sketchbooks early. I don't think I started keeping them until like quite a bit later.
Yeah.
Probably until like 2010 maybe,
Oh well,
something like
yeah.
that.
No, I've had them since like fourth grade was the first like bound sketchbook that I had. It was like a spiral bound sketchbook. It just had like Crayola on the front or something, and it was just like a little sketch. It was a pad really. It wasn't even a book, and it was like I drew on that around fourth grade, and I was drawing some of my original characters because my brother and I used to play make believe all the time. So like I
Hmm.
would just draw our characters, which now they call that OCs, I guess. Where like
Yeah.
it's just like a big thing now, but like back then it was just drawing made up characters that we used to play pretend as. Um,
Did you find you made up more characters, or did you do like drawings of like Goku and stuff like that
um, I, I
much? Or...
I would make up characters like what would happen like
Okay.
so there were I never actually drew Goku. I drew Vegeta once, but like I remember drawing I drew these two muscle bound characters that had these like featureless round heads, and
Hmm.
they were called Sai and Ryu, and I just draw them fighting like Dragon Ball Z characters, and they'd have the same like those pants all the Dragon Ball Z characters have, where it's like skin tight pants with little white boots and like the little those like that like pelvis armor. This is the one that the Saiyans wear.
Yeah.
They're wearing
Yeah.
that stuff. So they're wearing like Dragon Ball Z stuff, but like they weren't Dragon Ball Z characters. But I was drawing them like Akira Toriyama was. I was trying my best to do Akira Toriyama.
Hmm.
And I remember meeting a guy in I think it was fifth grade. I met this guy in gym class, and he drew Super Saiyan Goku. And at the time, it was like the sickest drawing I'd ever seen in my life. And I was like, oh my God, he's like better than me. And I was like, because back then when I was a kid, I was like, I was the best artist in class, like, so there was no contest. But I remember I started met him, and I was like, holy shit, that Goku's so good. It was like that scene from American Psycho, like
Yeah.
the subtle gold in the hair.
I remember coming across kids like that. Like there was one kid in my class that everyone was like, "Oh my gosh," because he brought his sketchbook. This is like grade 3 or 4. He
Yeah,
brought a sketchbook in, and like he had like Looney Tunes drawings, but they're like, and thinking back, I think they're like probably like heavily traced because they
yeah.
were like way too accurate. But everyone was like, "Oh my god, that's insane!" And I kind of felt like it's like, "Oh man, I suck."
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
nobody looks at my drawings like that.
That's kind of what I always became friends with anyone that I thought drew better than me. I'd become their friend because I was secretly like, I'm gonna get better than you. Like I would start trying to practice getting better than them. Back then it was easy to get better than somebody because no one else was thinking the way I was thinking. So it was like they weren't trying to be the best. They were just having fun drawing. And then like that was kind of that mentality I had back then. That all went away when I went to college, obviously, because I was like, university is completely different because everyone was the best kid at their school when you get into university. Did you go to school? Did you go to university for art, or did you do art school at all?
No, I didn't. I just did just in the forum and like Loomis books and all that, pretty
Okay.
much.
Was 2012? I don't even know how old you are. How old are you? Do you mind me asking?
I think I'm 32 now.
Okay, so I'm a bit older than you. I turned 40 this month. Um,
Oh well, okay.
but that kind of goes in line with I had like a career before I started like
Hmm.
um okay, so you were starting out. Okay, that's cool. That's cool to know. So you're basically your like formative like 20s was on the forum, and
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, pretty much like right out of high school, I was on the forum and
yeah,
yeah, spent like all my early 20s just inside.
yeah. I yeah. in hindsight, I wish I had done that, but a part of me is like glad I didn't because I turned out. I mean, I turned out okay, and I got a job doing what I love. So it worked
Yeah,
out
that
still.
yeah, I think at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter too much what path you take. Like, because you definitely do miss out. Like I didn't really. I was just inside all the time, right?
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
don't have that many stories or anything from that time. But yeah, it's like give and take a bit. Like,
yeah.
uh, yeah.
I hear
I
about
don't think there's
people.
any right way though.
No, I hear about people that worry they start too late. But I was 24 when I started taking it seriously as a career.
Hmm.
But I've been drawing all my life, so this it's a different. I think it's some. I see certain people that are like older, they're like maybe 20 in their later 20s, and they're like, I want to do this professionally, but they've not even drawn like ever. Like they're like, I just want to like jump into drawing from never being drawing before, and that to me is daunting because like I don't
Oh
I,
yeah.
I don't remember not being able to draw. Like nobody ever. There was not a time when I was like, oh, I can't draw. It was just I've always drawn, and then it just was a difference between me always drawing and me taking it seriously as a career drawing. And
Hmm.
there's a big difference between that because there's a bunch of really amazing artists that just do it for a hobby and for fun and like just on the side. Um, and there's just a difference
Yeah.
between that mentality that you got to like grind out more and do it when you don't want to do it and like
Hmm.
just feel like you're gonna fall behind somehow. But that's cool. Okay, so I'm learning all this stuff about you because I feel like you and I have spoken online many times, but it's always been very
Hmm.
focused and like it's always been about like art, but like the career as we have it currently. Like I knew you're at Adam Hawk. Is it Adam Hawk, right?
Yeah, yeah. It was at Adam Hawk.
I knew you were at Adam Hawk when because I asked you about that, and then I knew you were working on your own IP projects, and I've known you did your tutorials, and if anyone's listening to this and doesn't know Russell Jones, he's got tutorials out online. You can purchase those, right? You can purchase those. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. My
yeah.
Gumroad, I've one tutorial, and
Okay,
yeah, I need
so
to do
what?
more eventually.
I tried doing one last year and I got way too busy to do it properly, and
Uh,
my process completely changed since then. So it's like I don't think it's a good. I put it on YouTube for free because it was like I can't make money off this. This is not valid. Um, that's cool. Yeah, so we've spoken on and off for over the years, but like I've never actually like just had a conversation with you where we weren't like one of us is normally drawing at the time. I think whenever we were talking in the past, like because we were streaming or something. Um,
yeah.
and like, are you working right now?
I'm doodling around a little bit, but
Doodle, yeah. I thought
nothing
about doing some
serious.
work, but I needed to focus on asking the questions, and I just want to make sure we're getting interesting topics. I want to just provide something for other artists to listen to while they're working, basically, because there was a bunch of cool interviews I used to listen to when I was coming up, whether it was the Crimson Conversations with Dan and Dave or Level Up with I forgot what those guys' names are, but they're really good. Level
Oh,
Up show's good.
I remember Level Up. Dang,
Level
it's an
Up,
old one now.
the Collective podcast with Ash Thorpe. Like there was a bunch of cool podcasts I listened to coming up in my career, and I think it's valuable to have kind of a source. Not, I mean, something I say inspirational. It's not that we're inspiring, but like something to listen to that's like, oh, these are people that are doing what I want to do, and I can like relate to
Hmm.
that, and there's a way to get there, which I feel like sometimes it's hard to believe. Like when you're in the middle of that beginning part, it feels like you're just never gonna make it, and like at least it was for me, because I felt like I had started so late. I was like, oh my god, like I'm so old. Like I know these other artists started when they're like 16, and like it just comparing yourself to other people. Suddenly, you become less than when it's not even
Especially
relevant.
without forums now really being a thing. Like you can't really like the thing that was so nice about those. You could see like where somebody started
Yeah,
typically, and then like it's like oh you know they're super good, but you can go to the first page and be like okay they weren't that good before, right? Like they
Yeah.
started somewhere, but yeah, now you just see like, oh, Instagram or Twitter or whatever. It's like people just seem like they are just good, and you don't really think about like, oh, where did they start from?
Yeah, I think it's much different now because it was forums and threads in a forum before, and then at least when we started, there was no Twitch. There was livestream.com, and
Yeah.
you could. I still I miss live stream days because there was no music policing. You could play whatever music you wanted to in the background.
Oh yeah,
No one would
that
care.
was nice.
So you're basically like your own DJ broadcasting
Mhm.
music and art to the world. And if you weren't that great at drawing, if you had a really good music selection, people would still want to like listen. Like, oh, they listen to good
Yeah,
music. But and if you're amazing at drawing, people want to just watch you draw. Um, but livestream.com and the forums, those were the main sources for both of us when we started. And then CG Hub was a big deal. Um,
dude, I remember CG Hub.
CG Hub.
They had this thing on people's profiles where I don't know who decided it, but they had this trophy thing for certain artists where it's like this is like a master artist. Like I think like Brad Rigney had one, Dave Raposa, and some
Yeah.
other people, but it's like that was like the most coveted award. Like I was like, man, someday I'm gonna have a CG Hub Master Award, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I,
then it died.
I remember
That dream
the
got crushed.
conceptart.org had that wall at the top. It was like the wall of like really good fucking artists. That was like I don't know what it was
Oh,
called. It was like a grid at the top of conceptart.org, and
mhm.
it just has sick art from like some of the main posters or something. I don't know if it was like the main people that posted or if it was like the professionals in the forum. They got like a spot in the grid, but like only like the best artists were on that grid in the forum at the top. Um,
That's cool.
I remember that, and then everyone's tried to do it, but I don't know. It's not the same. Like ArtStation is not the same where it's just pulling images from like an algorithm. I feel like it's not really. I don't know if it's pulling from an
Yeah,
algorithm. It just feels different. It feels different from like having like the little gallery of like you're the best, But um,
yeah.
ArtStation just feels much different than CG Hub and those other places. It feels too corporate to me.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's kind of. I feel like a lot of people just like begrudgingly use ArtStation now because
Yeah.
yeah, I kind of wish I could just have like a personal site or something, but then personal sites are more of like a novelty, really.
Oh yeah. You don't have
And
one?
I did have one, but then I was like, it's too much money for Squarespace to like warrant having it, and it's just for like a novelty thing. So I still have my domain name, that goes to my ArtStation, but
Got it.
I was thinking about doing like I don't know if you've heard about Google sites, but you can make a free Google site.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
super limited, but I was like, well, I just want like a gallery, so that should be fine. Like
I
I just need a page that has a bunch of art on it, pretty much.
I've maintained my site for a while. I need to do. It's got too much stuff on there right now. It's got too many like random projects, but I need to like my wife and I went through and did like a. My wife and I went through earlier this year and just added on projects I never posted. That was like stuff that was like pretty cool looking. That was like, oh yeah, I forgot I even painted that, and it was like this is pretty cool. I should put it up online. And I did that earlier. It was last year, guys. Last year, with my wife, we did that together. And
Hmm.
now I feel like there's just way too many projects on my website where it's just like it was like I did a ton of random shit. None of it looks the same. It's all different clients, different styles. There's no like one singular voice. It's like, oh, this is your style. It's like clearly like I just jumped from style to style. Um, but I've started posting up my blog again on every Friday. When we first moved to London, I started it again, and then I got
Like
busy.
blogspot or
Like, well, I have a blog on my website, which is a blog
oh,
page.
okay.
I'm pretty sure nobody reads it, but I wanted to maintain it just because I remember when I used to go visit artists, either like their blog spot or like, because some artists use that as a portfolio back then. Um,
Yeah, I used to do that.
yeah, like I used to like listening. I used to like to go to the artist's blog spot or their website, and if it had a blog, you just kind of read through what they're talking about a little bit because you get to know a little bit about them or at least what they're working on.
Hmm.
Um, but like I'm pretty sure nobody reads mine, and but I'm still posting on it every Friday. I make a post, just like a short, like this is what I did this week, and then like I try and link everything relevant. Like if I do a stream or a tutorial video, I link it in the blog and be like, I posted these online today, and like
It's kind of the closest you can get to like a sketchbook in a way, like a
yeah,
forum sketchbook. So it is pretty cool in that way.
you're not on Dave Repose's Discord because they have a forum section that's got an actual like threaded forum sketchbook area.
Uh oh, I've seen that in Discords before, but I don't know why. But Discord it just seems so cluttered to me.
It is it,
Like it,
yeah.
yeah, it's hard to navigate. So I never really liked it.
I'm
Like I,
yeah.
it's so hard because like I like the idea of forums, like old forums and whatnot, but it's just super hard to like I know there's been a few times where people have tried to revive that idea, but it's just hard to go back to it because it's quite a bit slower
Yeah.
and like there's something nice about having like a single channel or thread to post.
Yeah.
You get like an instant post of somebody's work and you could see it and whatnot.
I
The
think
downside is you can't see somebody's progress as easily, but
yeah, I think it's hard also because I don't know how well the forum interface is, but back then it used to be pretty annoying to post on a forum sometimes. Your image couldn't be too big and
yeah, I forgot
like
about that.
your
Oh, dude.
image couldn't be too big, so you had to shrink your image down, and then also like
Mhm.
if you had to link anything, you need to like embed the link properly so it displayed as nice text. Otherwise, it would just be like this nasty URL in the middle of your
Yeah.
post. Or and also if you didn't actively add the link, it would just be a URL with no link attached. Like you couldn't just copy and paste a link and it would automatically be a link. Um, I remember that kind of stuff from that was annoying at the old forums, which is kind of nice in Discord. You could just post a link and it would just be a link. But
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, I'm keeping my site up because I don't know, it's just a nice little like record of stuff on there, and then
Yeah.
I'm gonna post these interviews. I'm gonna post these on my website so people can go there to look at them, or they're gonna be fed to the podcasting platforms too. But I want there to be like a
Mhm.
core place you can go and like scroll through them and stuff. Um, I'll probably snag some of your images um, to do
Yeah.
on the post so like people that go to the website can see like your name, what the art looks like, and then the interview we linked all together so they can understand who you are instead of having to like listen and then stop and like Google who you are before they because I used to do that all the time with the podcast interviews I listened to. I was like, wait, who is this? And then like oftentimes it'd be an artist I really did know, but I just never knew their actual name. I just followed the art. Or like
Mhm.
or there would be like a username. It'd be like I remember I met what's his name? Darren. Oh, I can't think of his full name. His username was Fight Punch on
Oh, Darren Bartley.
Darren Bartley. Yeah, I met him at a Massive Black workshop in 2013, and it was
Mhm.
like, "This is Darren Bartley," and I was like, "All right." I didn't give a shit. Like, who's Darren Bartley? And then someone was like, "Dude, it's
Who?
Fight Punch," and I was like, "Oh, you're Fight Punch?" And I was like, "Holy shit!" And I was like, "I had no idea you're
It's
a Fight
funny.
Punch."
It's funny that those like online pseudonyms kind of died a bit. Like you don't really see it as often anymore. But back in the day, like there were so many people with like a different kind of like brush username,
Yeah.
like something brush.
Oh,
Like
Brush.
everybody
Yeah.
had that.
I just know there's still people that have username handles as like their social media handle. Um,
Hmm.
and that's cool. I found it recently. I had to hire people for freelance gigs, and
Hmm.
I'll like they'll reach out to me and be like, "Oh, I'd love to work on the project." Well, they don't actually have their legal like I have no idea who they really are, and they'll just message me
Yeah.
like, "I'd love to work on the project with you," and I'd be like, "I don't even know who you are." I was like, "I don't know what to call you, dude. Like, how do we hire you if we don't even know what your name is?" So then they have to like, "Oh, sorry, I need my legal name." Well, yeah, you like have a contract and everything, you know. But
Hmm.
it's just funny because I'm from the other side. I see like I see the annoyance with the username where it's like just use your full name. I have friends that are like in the performance space, right? Because my wife's an actor.
Hmm.
So we know people that are like performers and like they have stage names often. So like they don't post their full legal name. They would never post their full legal name online. And so they think it's crazy that I put my full legal name everywhere. But I'm like, that's
Oh,
just,
really?
that's how I promote, it's me doing the illustration. I'm the only one with my name. So it's not like I'm, you know, Paul Smith or something, or, you know, John Smith Jr. or something, But
Yeah.
I know like there's multiple John Parks. There's a bunch of really good Korean artists, and I know there's multiple John Parks. But yeah,
Yeah. I feel like in general, it's I don't know. My impression is it's better just to have your name,
yeah,
but I guess if there's a bunch of people with your exact name, maybe it's could be good to have a
username.
username. I don't
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. I think it depends really. I think when you're starting out, it doesn't matter really.
Yeah.
If your work's good enough to get noticed by people that want to hire you, they're gonna ask you who you are. It's gonna come up
Hmm.
eventually. It's not like a necessary like thing that you have to. I think you just need to be aware of it if you're applying to a job. If you're on like a Discord and you have a username on Discord and you're applying for like a position, you should say, "Hey, my name is this. I'd love to work with you," or something. It just kind of branches a
Yeah.
little into that. It branches a little into that like um, job talk where it's like there's certain things you're expected to do in the workplace, and it kind of gets boring. But
I do find it kind of annoying, like getting to know somebody's username and like especially if you talk to them in call and whatnot,
yeah,
you call them by their username. But then like when you go in person, it's kind of weird to call them by their username and then we have to like get used to their actual name.
yeah,
That's always kind of a pain.
yeah. That it's weird. I've noticed it a couple times. Yeah,
Especially if they have like a weird username or like like
yeah.
yeah, it's just worse.
Like Stintrot. You're Stintrot?
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, man, I'm Stintrot. My real name's
And
Elliot.
then other people hear you saying it
Yeah,
too, and it's like
yeah.
okay.
You're Stintrot. My family calls me Elliot. Um,
Yeah.
so okay, so you started off freelance, and then how'd you land the job at Adam Hawk? How'd that happen?
Uh so a year before I got the job there, I had heard they reached out to me
Mm-hmm.
and I did like an art test thing for free
Yeah.
and yeah, and I just never even heard back. like like I spent a weekend doing it, I never heard back.
Yeah.
and then yeah, so I was like, okay, well that kinda sucks. And then a year goes by and I was talking to another artist, Alex Heath, and I remember I was asking him like, how do you because he was a freelancer and that was kind of my goal was to keep freelancing and just get better at it.
Yeah.
And I was asking like how do you schedule your time and get used to working in certain time limits. He said you learned a lot of that from working out at an outsourced studio.
Yeah, yeah.
So I
Definitely.
from there I was like, okay, I'm gonna I saw a job opening at Adam Hawk and I applied there again.
Yeah.
And this time they reached back out and were like, oh yeah, we'd like to have you come in for a interview and all that.
I guess another art
Um,
test.
yeah, oh dude, I would have. I don't think the studio director guy there. I don't think he remembered that I had done an art test there a year before,
Okay.
and I never told him that. He never responded to me, but I've always remembered that, and I was like, oh, I could tell him that what, you never responded to me on that art test I did. I spent a
Yeah.
whole weekend doing it. He's a good guy though, but
Yeah. They
uh
get busy. People get busy and they don't realize like that. Like
Yeah.
that one art test was probably like one of 10 art tests they were having to look at, and then for you it was like
Oh yeah.
everything. And for them it was
Yeah.
like, man, that was like art test number like 10 that I sent out this weekend. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely in outsourcing too. It gets like very busy. There's always fires to put out and stuff, and
Yeah,
yeah.
that's lots of game dev in general. um
But yeah, I got the job there, and
what year
I
was that?
that was 2019, August 2019. So
2018.
I
Okay.
yeah, it was like downtown Vancouver, so I'd take the train down there, and um yeah, it was cool. I really sold myself in that interview. I was like, oh, like I'm doesn't matter what it is, I'm willing to grow, and like they
Yeah.
ended up really liking that about me, like my willingness to do different things and
Yeah.
you know try to do the best I can.
did
Um
did you, so you got your studio job, I think it was a couple years after I got mine, because I remember you and I were chatting online back when I first started my job, but you were still freelancing at the time. Um,
yeah.
and then you got your job. Did so? Okay, you're at a freelancing. You're at an outsourcing studio. Did you have to like? I kind of know the answer, but just for anyone listening, especially if you're new, did you have to paint all kinds of weird stuff that you would never post?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've done like you wouldn't even believe the things I've done.
Yeah, yeah. That's, I feel like
You
people don't
couldn't
understand.
imagine.
People don't understand. People don't understand what it's like to work in a studio like that, where like I've had to do lots of pitch work for like various
Uh,
projects, and like the pitches can be literally anything, and it's like they'll be for like big companies, and then like you find yourself like, you know, you might like doing cyberpunk, but you're gonna be drawing goofy, you know, like for like a week or something. um
yeah, it's interesting. Like there's so much range. Like you kind of like I mean the ideal outsourced artist is somebody that can like literally just do everything because
yeah,
then
yeah,
the least amount of downtime they can have for artists, the more profit and
yeah,
less money getting burned. Um
yeah, that's
so yeah, you end up having to do a lot of different things, and probably only like uh, maybe like a quarter of the things I did were like might be what you see in my portfolio,
okay.
but the rest is very much different, like styles, like kid game styles,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
just all kinds of things.
I've had to do a lot of casual game art. I've had to like mobile games with like
Oh yeah, yeah.
match 3 mobile games. I've had to work on
Mhm.
multiple ones of those for various periods of time until they got canceled inevitably. But or they were just pitches, so they weren't really canceled so much as they were never picked up. um but
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Like
it was art
it's
directing.
interesting too because as like an outsourcer, you will touch a project for usually it's pretty short, like a few weeks to a few months, maybe
Yeah,
at most. There was one job where I was on it for 2 years, which was really cool because I always wanted that to like be kind of longer term on something.
yeah,
But
like yeah,
yeah, usually it's pretty short, and then you have no idea what happens to it. Like maybe it got canceled, maybe it totally shifted direction. You never really know, which
yeah,
is kind of the trade off. Like you get variety, but you never get to like really sink your teeth into anything.
yeah. I think that's what, if you don't work in the game studios and you've never worked in the game studio, one of the things that comes up is that the game itself has to be fun before any art is needed. Like if the game's not fun, there's no reason to even hire an artist. And a lot of
Mhm.
game studios have a skeleton crew that work in the studio, and they're basically working on demos. And then if a demo is becoming fun, they start bringing on artists. And if it gets really picked up and like by a publisher, then they'll either hire a bunch of artists to work on the project, or they'll outsource it to a studio like Adam Hawk, and that'll be how they get their art done. So if the game's not fun and you're working at the studio, there's nothing to do on your part because like there's if the game is supposed to be you shoot people, but the shooting mechanic isn't fun, then there's no game, and it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's why like, certain projects will shift. Like there's like the famous story of like Halo, where it's like it was going to be a strategy game, and then when
Hmm.
they're play testing the game, they're like, "Oh, it's really fun driving around in the Warthog. Maybe this should be the game." And like they switched the entire game to be first person shooter. And it's like that kind of thing happens all the time, where like people are
Yeah.
they're play testing, demoing something, and then they're like, "Actually, it's more fun to just jump." And then like the whole game's about jumping now, and then
Yeah.
that's why they make a game like like Kangaroo 2, where it's like, oh, it's all about jumping, but the original game might not have been that. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's just you'll learn that if you've never worked in the games industry, you'll quickly learn that's how it works. It's like a hit or miss. It's not the same as movies. Movies, it's all about the story, but normally the story dictates what's needed for the film. If it's Spider Verse, then it's like, well, it needs to be New York and Spider Man and Spider Verse.
Mhm.
It's not going to suddenly be like, oh, you know what? Let's just take all of Spider Man and turn it into like, you know, Potato Man. It's like, they're not going to just shift it that way, in a
Yeah.
film. Okay. Let me ask you. I had a few standard questions I want to ask everyone. So
Mhm.
here's one of my standard questions. I always curious about this with artists. Like, what's like a day in your life like right now? Like a normal work day for you. What does that look like?
Uh, well, I mean, wake up around like 10ish, usually 9, 10, and yeah, eat breakfast, drink coffee, and get to work. Pretty much. Like lately, I've been stretching more. I've been trying to stretch in the mornings because I noticed like as I'm getting older, like my body is just super stiff
Yeah.
all the time. So I'm like trying to get my ligaments all like stretched out and whatnot again.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, pretty much just working. I've been pretty busy with freelance lately, but I've been taking some time to do personal work and what else? I've been making some videos, like little shorts on Instagram. That's been kind of fun.
Oh yeah, I've been checking those
Uh,
out. Those are good.
yeah, just like little lesson things, I guess. Just trying to be helpful, really. Like I'm trying to do stuff that's just helpful and maybe it gets people thinking. Because
Yeah.
I think like the low hanging fruit is like, oh, how do you like paint this exact thing? Like how do you paint like metal or something?
Yeah.
Um, I'm sure that would do well, but like I don't know. I feel like it's not that useful really in the
I
long
mean,
term. It's more like an entertainment thing.
I think yeah, the how to paint metal is useful once, and then you see how to paint metal
Yeah.
once, and then you know how to paint metal. I think
Yeah.
your videos are more. I think what I like about your videos is that you're really explaining something that you specifically do that not everyone necessarily does. Because like you posted that thing about drawing over and through,
Hmm.
and I was like, oh, like I just never preach that because like I've been mentoring some people online for the past year, and my main
Hmm.
focus to them is just like get the drawing like finish the drawing, get it tight, figure everything out. Don't even start painting until you've figured everything out, and like it's all locked in place because you're gonna save you time. And that's been what I've been preaching. And then like yours
Hmm.
is like, oh, if you don't like it, just paint over the thing, just paint in, which is like it's a completely different mentality, but it's still valid because that's kind of the over and through. And basically, don't be precious with what you're doing. Like
Yeah. But that's one I had to learn the hard way because
yeah,
I it's interesting like how like art isn't really that hard in actuality.
no,
Like the thing that's hard about it is that we like get in our own heads and it's like that the mental side of it that is really hard.
yeah,
But the actual like process of learning and getting better is pretty simple. Like you just kind of you do the thing and you study and learn. But
it's like the I feel like it's the have you ever played Go, that board game
no, I
with the
never played it.
it's very easy to learn. It's like the black and white pieces, you basically overtake each other. They hop over each other, and you can overtake. It's very simple. Like that's the only real rule of it. You just move diagonally and overtake pieces. But it's like
Hmm.
impossible to master. It's not impossible. It's just it's insanely hard to master Go because there's so many moves you could do.
Hmm.
But learning Go is really easy, and I think it's the same thing with any art. It's like it's actually easy to learn the art. It's really hard to like master it. It's like almost impossible to master. I mean, it's impossible to master it.
Oh,
It's just,
definitely.
but like
Yeah,
it's
because it's
yeah,
like every the further you get, the more uh possibilities like open up. Like the more things you could like specify in and
yeah, yeah.
get better at, and
That's what I've.
yeah,
That's the
it
number
gets
one.
deeper.
The number one thing that I talk to my mentees about. I'm like, what do you want to do? And because you have to know what you want to do. You don't have to know,
Oh yeah.
but you have to pick something to start, and it can't be
Mhm.
everything because that's impossible. Like it's.
Like
Uh,
pulling yourself in too many directions if you try to
well,
do everything.
I always give them the example. I'm like, if you were a scientist and I asked you what field do you want to study in, you can't just say all of the sciences. Like it's just not.
Yeah.
It's not like nobody does that. Like you're either a physicist or you're a biologist or you're a geologist. Like there's specific things you study and expert. You know, you become expert in, and
Hmm.
any one of those can be an entire career and livelihood. You know, like it's just
Yeah.
it's the same with art where I'm like I want to do a little bit of everything. I want to do creature design and vehicle design and environment and characters. I'm like, yeah, okay. Like everyone wants to do a little bit of that, but like you're not going to be able to like, rarely
That's one thing
can you do
that
that.
that frustrated me about outsourcing is like you're you're kind of expected to be able to do everything,
Yeah.
and yeah, just not like you can't possibly excel at everything. Like you kind of have to have a focus,
Yeah.
and like you could do like other things at like a maybe like a decent stage, but yeah, it's impossible to be like a master at everything.
Yeah, I think that's it's just I mean, you can do it once you become comfortable in one field, then you can branch out to another field. And you can
Hmm.
actually do it competently because
Yeah.
a lot of the things you learn in character design carry over to environment design, and a lot of the things you learn in
Mhm.
environment design carry over to character design. It's just the structure is different, and but everything else is really the same, like storytelling, leading the eye, contrast, all that,
Mhm.
all the basics. All the basics are always the basics. Um, okay, okay. So you stretch, and then you just work all day. That's it. You work until forever, or do you? What time do you stop? Do you stop for
uh,
lunch? Do you stop for lunch?
yeah, for a short bit for lunch, and then yeah, I'll work until dinner, and then usually I take a break and you eat dinner and watch a show or something, go
Mm-hmm.
for a walk.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah, and then I will work a little bit more until the evening, but
Yeah.
yeah, not a ton,
When you
not
work
a ton else lately.
when you're working in the evening, are you like back at your desk working, or are you like in the living room drawing on an iPad or something?
At my desk.
Okay.
Yeah, we're in an apartment, so our desks are in the technically kind of like the living room area. The
Okay.
couches
Yeah,
a
ours
bit
used to be like
behind
that.
me.
That's how our setup was in LA, where like uh my wife and I, our computers were in the living room, and then we had the
Hmm.
bedroom, which had no computers in it. And then at the time when we first moved to LA, we had a roommate, and their stuff they had a small office in their bedroom, so they had their own setup in their bedroom, and then we had the because we were paying more rent, so we took over the living room as like our office space
Okay.
plus living area. So I had like a back then I had a standing desk, um, in I had a standing desk. I had a really nice drafting table at first, and then I eventually got a standing desk, and I had that for a while in LA, and then I transitioned to a modular desk, which I had to get rid of because I couldn't use it here. So I bought a different desk here, And yeah, okay. So you work. How late are you up for? Are you like up until like 1 in the morning or two?
Yeah, usually it's around one ish.
Okay.
Yeah, my fear was that, so I had a pretty decent schedule with when I was working at Adam Hawk full time,
Yeah.
but and my fear was like, okay, I'm really worried about going back to how it was before my job, where like I would just be up super late, and slowly I've kind of gotten later and later. Um,
Yeah.
so I'm trying to be careful not to get too late, because I just don't feel very good if I go to bed too late and wake up too late. Like
Yeah.
I kind of need mornings. Prior to the layoffs too, like I was having to wake up super early, like 5:30, 6 a.m.
Oh wow.
for meetings, because we were working with the UK studio quite a bit then.
Oh, I didn't even know they had a UK
Um,
studio.
yeah. So the UK studio is the main one, and then the Vancouver one opened in like 2017 or something, I think.
Oh,
Um,
did it all
but
close?
yeah, no, the UK one is still there. Like they had like a there's Adam Hawk, there's Adam Hawk UK, there was Vancouver, and there's Advance,
Okay.
and they closed the Advance and the Canada one,
Okay.
and
Okay.
kind of just like contracted back to the main one.
Interesting. Man, I didn't know that. Okay, so your schedule is very similar to mine. Um, I
Okay.
I work because I work with a studio back in LA still. I don't start working until 10 or 10:30 because I'm normally in meetings until around 6:30 to 7. And like tonight, I had a
Hmm.
meeting at 7, which went later. And then every now and then, I have a special stakeholder meeting that I had to do late night. Um, at the studio I'm at, I'm a partner at the studio, so that I have these extra meetings I have to do. Um, but
How many meetings do you have a day typically?
normally it's just two. Normally it's
Okay.
just the morning meeting where everyone just says what they're doing for the day, and in my case, I tell you what I did for the day, and then I have a meeting with my producer, and I just download all the information to my producer because he basically presents all my work in the afternoon for them. So
Okay.
he'll present my work and be like, "Well, Mike did this today," and he'll get all the feedback for me, and they'll record it and send me the video. So the first thing I do in the morning is I make myself a cup of tea and I play the feedback video, and that basically sets me up for the day. Like I know exactly what I need to do based on that feedback video, and then I do my
Cool.
work. I do my work until around 12:30. Do a quick lunch, and then I'll work some more. And then if I don't run in the morning, I do like an afternoon run after lunch, and then keep working until around. Normally I wrap up my actual like heavy lifting work by like 4 or 3, and then I do
Hmm.
like auxiliary work, which could be like hunting for reference or like trying out something or whatever. Like I'll do some like the kind of like the side things I need to do until my meeting's at 5, and 5 o'clock for me is 9 a.m. for LA. So
Okay.
that's why I meet at 5 p.m. It's the only time of my day where I actually have to like be ready to talk and be quiet. And then of course
Hmm.
everyone comes home, so my dog starts barking nonstop right around that time. So,
And
but
that's one thing I couldn't stand eventually. It's like the we always did meetings, but once I moved into like a lead position, it's like so much more of my time was in meetings, and
yeah,
man, that was killing me. Oh my god.
the
There like
meetings.
Thursdays there's like 3 hours of meetings I'd be in pretty much. Like it was so much of my day. I
I think
couldn't stand it at some point.
if you're a new artist listening to this, the amount of meetings you're like, I think it's easier when when you firstly start the company. They're not going to expect you to be in a bunch of meetings because they're probably just going to have a check-in point with you a couple times a day, most likely.
Hmm.
But the more you progress in your career, the more meetings you're involved in, and the less time you have to work, and that's just part of it. You just get less time to actually paint and sculpt or whatever it is you do. You got to optimize more.
Yeah, I think one thing to mention too is like you don't like it when you get into a place like there's this idea like, oh, I want to keep progressing like upwards in a company,
Oh
but
yeah,
I think it's okay to stop at a
yeah,
certain point.
yeah,
Like I because your role starts to shift from like an artist doing the art to like a manager, and
yeah.
I just noticed I was a lot more unhappy like once I became
The lead.
more of like a lead managing and whatnot. Like
That's yeah,
I do like helping people, but I think principal was a good rule for me because I was mainly doing art still, but
yeah,
I was still like giving feedback now and then.
yeah,
But you kind of get pushed into roles a little bit sometimes if you're not careful, like
yeah,
because yeah, I was like a so I was like a senior doing technically like principal work for a while, so I was like, okay, well, I'll just I might as well push for the promotion
yeah,
because I'm kind of doing the work anyway.
yeah. You want
And
the
then
extra
as a
money.
yeah, and then as a principal, I was doing lead work basically for a while. So it's like, well, I might as well push for the promotion so I get
Yeah,
paid more at least.
yeah.
But then,
So they get you.
yeah, I think instead I should have just been like, well, no, this isn't like part of my role or whatever. Like, I think that might have been better
Yeah.
because, yeah, just the last like 6 months of working was just pretty miserable, honestly.
Well, my yeah, I agree. I think progressing in a once you've got the dream job, which doing like concept art at a company is like a dream job, right? But like once
Mhm.
you're in that job, you got to think about like what you're gonna do with the rest of your life because the job is just the beginning, and I
Yeah.
feel like people don't think about that part. Like, what is your end goal? It could be that you're just a concept artist forever. You just become like you're saying, like a senior or principal artist, and you just stay there and just not
Mhm.
progress because it becomes in every situation, whether it's like I think even in cinematics is similar. Like you transition away from doing the art and you become more of a overseer of the art, and the overseer of the art also becomes the middleman between the business people and the art, and that's where it gets
Mhm.
like also just super annoying because you have to deal with non-artists that have these expectations of the art, and then like it's your problem if the art doesn't live up to the expectations of the, like, let's say the publisher or the client. It's your problem to deal with. It's not like, oh well, the artist, they didn't do a good job on this one. It's going to be like, well, you're the art director or you're the lead, so actually you didn't do a good job on this because you're supposed to
Yeah,
be guiding them.
it gets
Like,
put on you.
yeah,
Yeah. That's where it gets super stressful too. It's like because yeah, dealing with people sometimes like they you have a bad day or something
yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever, something could be going on in their lives and their performance will be put on you. Like they'll be like, "Oh, well you're not, you're not helping them enough or like guiding them enough or something."
yeah. I
And
think that's
yeah, it's stressful having to like be in the middle of that.
you got to start like managing emotions of people, and
Yeah.
you also like that's something to consider if you're wanting to work at a company and you want to join a team. You've got to remember that the guy in charge, or the person in charge, needs a team they can rely on because they're on the hook. Not
Mhm.
the new artist that gets hired isn't on the hook. It's the art director that hired the new artist. They're on the hook. And sometimes, let me rephrase that too. Oftentimes, the art director is not hiring anyone. It's the hiring manager that hires people, and the art director just leads you. So, like, that's another thing to consider,
Mhm.
is that, like, at lots of companies, the art director doesn't actually have a say in like who gets hired necessarily. They can recommend people to get hired, but they're not gonna literally be the ones that signs you on to the company. There's like a hiring manager that does specifically that role, and it's a collaboration between the two of them to get you onto a job most of the time. But
Yeah, I worked on hiring quite a bit, and you could tell the industry was starting to struggle at a certain point when like really good artists were starting to apply
Yeah.
for work, and I realized then though how little power I had and who actually gets hired. Like it's the people like running the business at the end of the day
Yeah.
that are making choices for the business. But um yeah, there's some really good artists, and like I was like, oh my god, that'd be so cool for them to work here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I kind of got overruled though. It's like, well, they saw some other reason, like, oh well, they don't have like the range that we need as an outsourced studio.
Yeah. That's
Um
something I have found when I first got hired at my company, my boss basically hired me and was like, "I need an art director. You want to be an art director?" And I was like,
mhm,
I guess so." And then I was like the art director for the first few years, but I had no clue what I was doing because I've never been art director.
mhm.
So I went from being a freelancer like you were to straight to art directing, and
Jeez, that's
it
crazy.
was like nuts. And I was there for that position for a few years, and then right around the time the pandemic happened, I took a I say I took a sabbatical. I had a terrible manic episode because I'm bipolar, and I left the
Mhm.
studio for about a month or so. But when I came back to the studio, my boss was like, "What do you want to do? You know, I'm willing to like help you get back on your feet. What do you want to do here?" And I was like, I don't want to be art director anymore. I was like, way too stressful. And I was like, I'm just like so stressed out all the time. And like, there's so many people like looking at you. They're like, why doesn't this look the way I want it to? And I was like, no, I want to be a concept artist. I just want to paint and draw. That's all I want to do.
Mhm.
So I actually got demoted on purpose because I didn't want to be art director. And then
Mhm.
I've been in that position for quite a while. Um, and only now, only this year, am I dipping my toes into actually art directing. But now I have like an actual idea of what needs to get done, and
Okay.
like I know the expectations now. This year is my 11th year at the studio, so
Oh wow.
I've got enough experience now to understand what an art director is supposed to provide and like the role they play. And it
Yeah.
just took me a long while to learn that, and it's been a few years where there's been no art director at our company, and it's kind of been that 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 hole in like having no art director. It kind of shows because you're
Mhm.
like there's certain issues that an art director would have resolved quickly because they're like, oh no, this is the vision for the project, and you go, oh okay, you know, it's just that's kind of the role they play.
It's hard to be thrown in the deep end like that. Like, yeah, I can't imagine just going straight to art director. Like at Adam Hawk, it was kind of difficult because we like the Canada side was very slim as far as like we had seniors when I first got there, and then a lot of them left, and a lot of the time I did, at least on the character side, I didn't really have many people to look up
Yeah,
to like learn from.
yeah,
So I kind of like a lot of the time I was just kind of like figuring it out and trying to do my best.
yeah.
But it's funny how often like we do that, like just fake it till you make it, kind of like when I
Yeah, that's exactly how you have to do.
uh like when I first joined too, like I printed out a bunch of those Paul Richards design blog articles, and
Oh
like
yeah,
I literally
he's got
would
good
look at
stuff.
those on the train
Yeah,
because I was like, okay, I've done like the D&D like designing characters, but I don't really know what I'm doing with designing, honestly. Like I'm
yeah.
so yeah, just
I didn't know.
had to figure it out.
You know, you and I started in 2012, but I didn't
Hmm.
actually know how to do concept art until 2015. Once I took Anthony Jones' mentorship, and he basically
Yeah.
explained this is what the process is to design characters. And he walks us through the process and makes you do like hundreds and hundreds of drawings. And it's basically like a boot camp to get you to like be better. And it
Hmm.
wasn't until I took that mentorship that I was like, oh, okay, now I understand how you're supposed to design characters.
There
And
wasn't much info online, was there? Like
what
I feel like there was lots for illustration, but concept art was kind of more.
there wasn't, I
I
mean,
don't know.
there wasn't really a bunch for concept art, like not the real kind of concept art, like that famous book everyone talks about is The Skillful Huntsman. Did you
Yeah.
ever read that one?
Yeah, I've seen that.
The
Yeah.
skillful huntsman, that is the process for designing characters and environments and vehicles and weapons. And it's a pretty simple process, and it's outlined in that book. It's called The Skillful Huntsman. They did that book back when they were doing the thumbnails with markers still. They're doing like marker thumbnails to get the characters designed, and then they brought it into Photoshop later and painted over it. But that's the only book that I've seen that actually shows a concept art process properly. And then
Mhm.
most art books, even like those, like the art of books, like those definitely don't show most concept
Oh
art.
yeah,
They're just
they
showing
just
like
show like the
the most
pretty
the beautiful
copies.
yeah. It's
They show what's used as well, which it's not that informative. Like you kind of need to see what like you need to see the stuff that didn't get used and the
yeah,
throwaway stuff to kinda
that's
understand like the process.
yeah, that's the stuff that doesn't get used is really important to see. And the what I find is like, because you worked in outsourcing studio, is that lots of concept art for games just doesn't look cool. It's just not. It doesn't
Yeah.
actually. It looks like it's normally, at least in my experience, it's like a character in a T pose with a bunch of stuff pointing to the character saying, "This is fur. This is metal. This is that. This is like that." And like, because you're just explaining what the character is supposed to look like in 3D. That's all you're doing. You just like
Yeah.
you're basically someone who can't do 3D, who needs to explain to someone who can do 3D what to do, and then the person that does 3D has to make it in such a way that the animator can animate it in 3D. And there's a back and forth between each of those departments. They're all different departments. And if you mess up in one department, the other department gets really pissed at you.
Surprisingly, I've only had to do like the T-post thing maybe like only like a handful of times, but I
Yeah.
I have had where like the job I was on for 2 years, uh I was basically like, embedded in the client's team as like a
Yeah.
concept artist, and I really got to actually like learn like what what's kind of going on with that, and like a
Yeah.
big part of it is like figuring out what they don't want to see. I noticed
Mm-hmm.
like because they'd have ideas, and then it's like okay, well I know this probably isn't gonna look good, but I have to show them.
Yeah.
Like
That's
I have
yeah.
to show them it anyway, and I have to explain why I don't think it would look good often, and try to give like an alternative that would maybe work.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
that was a big part
exactly.
of the job.
I'm currently art directing an artist at work, and that's exactly what's happening right now. We're like,
Mhm.
he submitted something, and I was like, it looks kind of cool, but I don't think it fits the style that we want for our game. But I'm not sure, because maybe we want to change the style. I'm not sure yet. So we had to like get everyone to weigh in on it. And the
Mhm.
consensus was like, yeah, it doesn't really fit exactly what we want to do, but it looks cool. But like, we had to kind of see it before we said no, because
Yeah,
you can't
yeah.
necessarily like you can't necessarily guess what's going to look like accurately until you see it. Um, and
Something can
yeah,
sound cool, but when
yeah,
you actually see it, it could be like okay, it doesn't fit at all.
yeah. If we combine A, B, and C, and you find out that B actually doesn't look good with A and C. It's, A and C looks good on their own. That's how it works.
Yeah.
But okay, that's yeah. That I think that's something that most people don't understand either. Is that you got to kind of get past the stuff you don't want to understand like where
Mhm.
you need to go. And there's a lot of rejection involved in the concept art world, and that's good, because you need to know where to really, you know what you want to do, what they want to do.
Yeah, I think that part it's interesting because it's really hard to replicate on your own. Like if you're
Yeah.
just doing your own projects and learning, because I mean, you I feel like usually you'd know what you want to see when you're doing something, so
Yeah.
it doesn't really make sense to do like arbitrary like variations and whatnot. Like maybe a few because you're not totally sure, but you definitely don't do as much as you would see in a studio, in my
Yeah.
experience at least.
Yeah, I think well, I also found that like all of some of my favorite designs I ever drew were like just never picked. So I was like always like I was like
Yeah.
this. I would be drawing the character and I'd be like, this is the head. This is the one. I could feel it. He looks cool. He's got the attitude. He's got this like face. It's unique. And then the team would look at it and be like, nah, not that one. Definitely not that one. Like, okay, it's like the one I wanted the most.
Did you
But
ever argue for your the anything that you liked? Like
yeah,
try
yeah,
to like sell them on it?
we we're pushed at my work to argue your point, to kind of like
Okay.
our studio is so small. It's not the same as like working for a massive studio. In a massive studio, they're just going to tell you what they want. And, you know, if you try and argue it,
Hmm.
I mean, it's got to be like really compelling at a massive studio. But our small studio, my employer is basically like, he's my partner. My partner is like, um, I want you to pitch it, like pitch why it
Hmm.
works, because like it's not about. This is also good for anyone to hear. It's not about whether you like it or not. Why does it work for the project? That's the most
Yeah.
important part. Um, and so oftentimes there's a reason you like something is because you know it'll work, because maybe you can't put your fingers on it, or you can't put your words to it, but like, you know, the shape language is more in line with the attitude of the character and the arc of the character. And that could be, you know, that could, you could argue that, you know, and say like, well, actually the nose is so angular, you know, this is an evil character, so we want this angular nose and we need to keep that, you know, that kind of thing. You got to like learn
Hmm.
how to talk about your art in a different way than like just I like it, this is sick. You got to like figure out like what to like, why do you like it. um
Yeah, because it's just like if you just say like, "Oh, this is sick," or "Oh, it just looks good," it's like very superficial.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I had to do that. Like sometimes I didn't really care that much. It's like, okay, well, yeah, it's like whatever you think looks good. But there were
yeah,
certain choices where I was like, okay, I feel like really strongly about this. Like I know this option is a lot better.
yeah,
So I'd like do little case studies and like why,
yeah,
and yeah, just try to sell uh clients on why, like why do I think this is better.
yeah,
Um, and usually it worked. Like if I got a reason, like a good reasoning across, like they would, they'd be like, okay, I totally see what you mean. Like,
yeah.
yeah, that's obviously like the better choice.
I think it's if you have the kind of right company culture and communication setup, I think it's always worth arguing for what you want, because you're going to be stuck like having to paint that thing if you don't, you know, if it's not what you want exactly. Like you're going to be the one that has to like, you know, spend the rest of the week painting this thing out, or like maybe you had to like paint it in a giant
Yeah,
scene. You might as well as at least say this is what I think should do and like why. And then if it doesn't work out, then whatever, it doesn't work out. But like if it does work out, then you're like, hey, at least it only worked out because I said something, you know, like
yeah.
okay,
The caveat there is that I with that client in particular, I felt comfortable because it was, I had a long working relationship with them for
yeah,
2 years or whatever. But if it was like a client we were first time working with, I probably would be a bit more subdued with
yeah,
that.
yeah, that's true too.
Um, because yeah, you you don't want to give a client, especially in outsourcing, like there's so much like people relations involved. Like you
Yeah,
don't want to give a client a bad impression, or no, you kind of just have to do everything to make them happy, like everything you can, which
yeah, you don't want to,
kind of sucks in a way
you,
because
yeah, you don't want to
like
come off argumentative, like
yeah, exactly. Which yeah, it just kind of suck in a way 'cause it's like, well, if you know something can work better, it sucks to have to like subdue yourself and like not
yeah,
present like a better option. But yeah, that's where yeah, you just gotta make a good impression for because you're not working with that company directly. You're working for the outsourced studio you're employed by.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, you're representing the company, and you got to remember
Yeah,
that. That's another part of like working professionally, that you don't like once you join a company, it's not just about them accepting you, but you've got to like kind of accept the company. Like, do you really want to be part of this team? Is it a good
Hmm.
team? Is it a team that's like are they? I talked about company culture. Like, is everyone nice there? Is it like, is it just a bunch of dudes, or is it like, is the company mostly women? Like, you got to consider like who you're working with and like how you need to behave in the space, and just be
Hmm.
polite in situations, because it's better to be polite than become the jerk at the company, because you're not going to last that long.
Yeah, that's oh man, that's one thing I really didn't like about being a lead too. Is like I wasn't actively ever trying to be a jerk or anything, but
Hmm.
like you have to be, you have to dig into people a little bit more. It's like,
Yeah,
oh well, you didn't get much work today. Like why is that? Like why didn't you get much work done today? Or like
yeah,
why you try to help people, but if they keep not listening or something, you gotta dig into them a little bit more. And
yeah. I
I
find having to follow up,
really don't like doing that.
the check-ins are always like, it's weird because if you've never done this kind of stuff before, you have to check in on the artists, because if you don't, they will just use as much time as they need, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But like, you kind of need to like make them understand that like you need to get this done like faster. Like, and sometimes that means requiring more check-ins, even if it's just like, like first thing in the morning, say, oh, so how'd it go yesterday? Like, how far are you going? How do you feel? Like, when can I expect this by? You always ask that question, is when can I expect it by? And then that makes the
Mhm.
artist come up with a deadline. And they're like, oh, well, end of today. You say, okay, great. At the end of today, I will see results. And it's just a different mentality you got to think about, because like when you're in the opposite side with the artist, like if you're like, I guess I'll just keep working, they're not bugging me. I'm just gonna keep working on this forever.
Yeah.
Like, and they're like, it's not until your boss comes over and they're like, hey, when is this gonna be done? You're like, oh, uh, by lunch. Like,
Or
suddenly
it's like
like,
a
yeah,
fire under your butt a little bit.
yeah. I've had, I think my one of my downsides is that I push to be really fast, and oftentimes I don't put as much critical thinking as I need to, because I want to focus on getting results in. But like, they're like
Hmm.
lackluster results sometimes, because I should have put more thinking up front and like given myself more time to like research. I think that's something that happens at work all the time for me, where I'm like, I should have looked up some better ideas to start with, because then it would have been more informed with my sketches.
Uh, I was still at a hard balance with outsourcing. Like,
Yeah,
some of the timelines are so quick
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah,
you kind of just have to do it. Like some jobs, it was crazy, man. Like it's like, oh, you have half a day to do the first part and half a day to do the final part, and it's like you can only spend maybe like 15-30 minutes tops on like research.
yeah,
Um, I mean that was one of like the quicker type of jobs, but even like the some of the other character ones, it's like, oh, you get like 3 days to start to finish this thing.
yeah. I think,
And every day you have to send an update. So first day you have to have like your research and initial sketches done.
yeah.
Just tricky at first.
Well, it's a good metric though. I mean, I think when I was starting out, I remember always asking, like, how long are you given to do this stuff? Like, because I wasn't
Yeah.
sure, because you hear some concept artists are like, just work as fast as possible. And then there's some concept artists that are like, well, I hear like, I remember I met Trevor Claxton. He was like, I'm just so fucking slow. And his work is amazing, but he'd always be like, I'm so slow. And it's just like, so part of me was like, okay, so you're really good and you can be slow. Is that about getting mixed messages? Because some artists are like, no, you got to be as fast as possible, get 5 images done by the end of the day, every day, like. So I've
Hmm.
heard mixed results. I think it depends on the studio. I heard from one artist, they said they're expected to do like 5 sketches a day. If you want to keep up with the other people on the team, you got to do at least 5 sketches a day to kind of show that you're like, throwing in your own stuff. And then once a
Hmm.
sketch gets picked out, they had a week to finish the character fully, like to fully render the character and get it done.
Okay.
And I think that
Was that like
included,
a outsourced or dev studio
that was
or?
a dev studio, and
Okay.
it was like, I think that included like the turnarounds. So it's like a week
Hmm.
to like paint the character, do the turnarounds, get it all done. So it's I know lots of people that start out, and at least when I did, like, you take way too long on things, and you
Yeah.
try and make it perfect, and it's just not how most of the industry works. Like, you don't, even though certain pieces look like they took a long time, either those artists are much faster than you think, or they just lock in the idea so early that they don't have any questions about what they're doing. They're just like, I know what I'm painting.
Mhm.
And like, it's like when you start, I used to do this all the time. I used to just start like painting in Photoshop with like no clue with what I was gonna paint. I'm like, I'm just gonna
Yeah.
paint. I'm just gonna paint something cool, and then like, like, and it was always like a zombie or something, because I was like, I'm just gonna paint. Because zombie is like the default I could go to, but most of the time, it's much easier to paint if you know exactly what you're painting to begin with, and just go
Yeah.
like I'm going to paint a vampire. Okay, great. So you're painting a vampire. So paint the vampire. Like, uh, it's a much faster process. It's different with working too, because they tell you what you're going to paint. Oftentimes you're like, you need to design this tank character, and we need like 12 options, like by the end of the day or whatever they'll tell you the timeline sometimes too.
Yeah.
But
They give you the brief and everything. It's hard to do that on your own sometimes. Like you
yeah.
gotta. That's why I try to come up with structures for myself to be able to kick off an idea. Um,
Oh yeah, you had your little pipeline you posted up.
yeah. So I struggled with that a lot. Like sometimes I put too much initial info in, and then I don't feel like I'm able to be creative anymore because I've like front loaded all the creativity, and then too little, and I just don't care about what I'm doing. So I kind of found a sweet spot now where it's like, okay, I have like the main info that can get me started, and I still feel like I can, you know, be creative through the process and change things. I'm not like overly locked in, which I
Yeah.
like.
So do you um can you walk through that process real quick? Like, what is your technique? Because you posted it on a video you did, right?
Yeah, so the thing I'm doing nowadays is I start with archetypes. Like I have a general idea of an archetype I want to do. So, like an assassin, a knight, a barbarian, like they're all like very generic and simple, but the thing that's nice about archetypes is they pack a lot of, additional info in them. Like, you just say assassin
Yeah.
and you have a mental image of what that is and what goes along with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, alone it's like, it's almost childish how simple it is. So I add in another keyword. So the weirder it is, the better probably. But like
Yeah.
it could be anything: lava, ice. It could be another archetype, even like barbarian, assassin,
Hmm.
uh, anything really. And then that creates questions. It's like, okay, well, all of a sudden that's modifying the traditional archetype. So I'll go through a series of like discovery and like asking myself questions like, how is this person this way? Like why? Just kind of follow that through. Um, not too long, but just enough to get more interest happening,
Yeah.
and then I'll grab like very few references, like tops 2 to 3.
Okay.
Um, a bad habit I used to have is like I just fill up your ref with references, and
Yeah.
you know you get you because the references are part of the idea too. And if you have a pure ref, which is like everything that you think is cool, it it just kind of confuses the idea. Like the core idea can be muddied. Um, I also strongly believe like limitation breeds creativity. So you can, I think it's better to do more with less generally. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's the approach that I've been really enjoying. I think it works quite well for me.
Yeah. That's similar to, you can give I guess it's kind of like an analysis paralysis thing, where you start looking up way too much ref,
Yeah.
and I think looking up a bunch of ref is fine, but having like that one piece that's unique, that's like, this is something, if I combine piece A with piece B. This is something I've never seen combined before, and that's like what you
Hmm.
want. You don't need five, 15 different ideas. Just like you might look through 15 ideas, but you should cull the ideas down to just like the key ones you want. Um,
Yeah.
I found in like when you're selling an idea at a company or mainly at a company, if you're selling an idea, it's easier to do like a if you're doing a quick and dirty sketch and that's all the time you have, it's good to have the quick sketch with that key reference pointing to like the part of the influence of the sketch. You're like, okay, like this has like a snout that looks like this one creature that I found. So like this is where my inspiration is, this weird snout. And it's important
Hmm.
because this character is supposed to track things down. So he's got to have an importance that the snout is there. Like so, you kind of this is part of selling the idea again, like selling
Yeah.
why it works. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Um, we're about an hour and a half now. I want to ask you a few more of these like general
Yeah.
questions to kind of round us out because I know I don't want to keep you too long. Um, but are you ready for some generic questions that'll be interesting for me?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's
Okay.
hear them.
All right. Top films. What are your favorite films?
Well,
Let's limit it to
uh,
three. Let's three. Okay.
I really like Robert Eggers movies, like
Okay.
the Lighthouse. I like that movie a lot.
Of course you
Um,
do. Just art
yeah.
style. Your art style matches this.
I'm so excited for Werewolf. It
Me
looks
too.
really good.
I mean,
Um,
the werewolf. It almost feels like you designed werewolf. the all the art direction for it.
oh, it's so cool. I'm
Yeah.
trying to think of what else. I don't watch a ton of movies.
Yeah.
Um, Vampire into Deep Bloodlust. I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
Um, what's another one? Uh, I guess Princess Mononoke. I like that
Okay.
movie a lot.
Got it. Okay.
There's probably another one that would be my favorite, but I can't think of it right now.
You got a lot of dark fantasy in your life, but I feel like that tracks with your artwork.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice. Okay. That's that out of the way. Here's my other thing I want to ask you. Your favorite musics. What musics are you listening to right now? It doesn't have to be your favorite ever. Just like what are you currently listening to when you're painting and
Uh,
stuff?
lately it's been kind of like I don't know if it's like garage rock or what do you
Garage
call like
rock.
that? I've been listening to the Nouns a lot lately. It's
The
like a
nouns.
yeah, it's like a I don't know. It's a little like emo-y garage rock type of. I don't know what you call it, but yeah,
Hmm.
my music taste changed a lot though. Like it's very sometimes I just don't listen to any music for like a month or two.
Oh wow, I can't do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just get tired.
Interesting. Okay. Um. Okay. Here's something I wanted to ask everyone I talk to. What are some of the things you find yourself repeating to new artists that ask you for advice? Like, what's the thing that people always ask about that you're like, okay, everyone needs to know this one thing because I
Hmm.
always get asked about it.
Trying to think of it, just something I get asked a lot. Um, mm,
You might not have anything. I know, like, I think
mhm.
the thing that I've gotten like the thing I preach about all the time is that people move too fast into their process. They move too
Yeah,
fast before they lock in like a design. So they'll be like, I started painting it, and I'm like, we didn't even lock the design down. Like you didn't even figure out like what this design is to begin with. So you just started painting it. Now you got to think about all the lighting and all the materials, and it's a
that's
bunch
really
of
good
stuff.
advice.
I've
Yeah,
like
it's like that.
yeah.
The more complexity you add on, the harder it is to make adjustments.
I this
Um,
part of the mentorship that I run. I found myself given
mhm.
the same like everyone that I worked with. I was like, they would do a check in and they do like sketches. They would like, send them sketches. I was like, cool. And I'd be, it's looking good, like maybe update this and that. And then the next check in would be like halfway painted. And I was like, whoa, like, whoa, you didn't even like fix the stuff I talked about. was like,
Slow down there,
I
buddy.
was like, if this happened at work, it would have been like, the art director would have been pissed. It'd be like, you didn't even fix the line art I told you to
Oh
fix.
yeah.
Like you gotta you can't
Uh,
just jump to the next stage yet. Like that's crazy. But
well,
yeah,
I can't think of something that I get asked a lot, but one thing I have been thinking about a lot the past, probably since like the layoff, is um like artistic authenticity
oh
and
yeah,
like kind of just understanding who you are and like what you like as an artist,
yeah,
and also knowing that I don't know if I want to say limitations, but like we all have certain things that we're interested in, and like you don't. I think a lot of times we tell ourselves like, oh, there's like shoulds, like, oh, I should do this, or I should expand my portfolio, have this other thing in it, but it's not really based on your actual interest.
yeah,
And like as a result, that stuff isn't gonna be. It's probably not gonna be that good. Like
yeah,
you want to find the things that your heart's in, and that you can, it's authentic to you. So that work is gonna shine out as being, you know, the best and that you can do. Um, yeah, I think it's a big one I've thought about a lot
yeah,
because yeah, especially in outsourcing, I had to do so much different stuff, and you have to wear all these different masks all the time.
yeah,
Um, it's very easy to like lose yourself if you're not careful, and I'm really glad I did so much personal work because I think if I hadn't, I'd be kind of fucked right now. I wouldn't know who the hell I am even, like and
yeah.
what I even like.
How how was it like? How is your professional? What could you show from your time there, or is there? Could you show anything once you were laid off? Like,
Uh, There's probably some stuff I could show, but it's just such a pain in the ass to have to like, because we don't have a Canadian like person to contact now. I'd have to
yeah,
contact the UK and get permission and all that. It's just way too much of a pain. And like the stuff that I
yeah,
could probably show probably isn't stuff I'd want to show anyway.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's kind of unfortunate, but oh well.
I
It's
always,
like 6 years just kind of invisible in a
yeah,
way. But
I've always tried. Like, I don't really show any of the work I do at my studio, but I have copies of my work saved just in case
mhm.
anything ever happened. I needed to show my work, like whether it would be a layoff or if the company folded or something. Like, I had heard
Yeah,
stories, I think from Sean Murray. Sean Murray, I think it was in the Crimson Conversation. He mentioned this, where like they were going to work one day and the doors were locked, and they were just like, "Oh no, you're all laid off," and like they
dang.
they just couldn't access their computers, and so all the work they'd been doing was just lost, like to them. Like they couldn't show anything they did. Um,
Yeah,
and I'm
it's
pretty sure the
sad.
company just folded. So like it's not like the I don't even think like who knows if the art was ever even used for anything. It just like locked away forever. But that scared me
Yeah.
when I heard that back then. I was like, oh shit! I was like, that could happen. So I've always been one to save copies of my work. It's all offline, but I save copies just in
Mhm.
case I need to show people, um, to show what I do. Because otherwise, it's been 10 years, with nothing to show. So,
Yeah,
but
it's
I've been
nice.
doing,
It's nice just to look at yourself even
yeah,
because yeah, otherwise it's like, well, what did I even do all those years? Like it just
yeah.
yeah, it's really unfortunate.
Would you get
I wish that wasn't a thing.
Was that?
I wish that wasn't a thing. Like where
Oh yeah, yeah,
if a company goes where you can't show anything and
yeah. It's frustrating.
all that.
Um, I think, yeah, I think that's something that that's one of the things that we had a set of layoffs the month or so before we moved to London.
Hmm.
We had a big series of layoffs, and it was like half the company or a third of the company. I don't know what it was like. Everyone was the whole team was gutted, and
Yeah.
that freaked me out because I was like, shit, like what do I have to show if I get laid off? Like, what do I have to show for all my time here?
Hmm.
And that kind of kicked my ass into like, I was telling my wife, I was like, well, I need to start taking on freelance now. And like, I need to start building up a roster of clients so that if something ever happens, I've at least got some freelance to fall back on. And I'm not just, stuck in the water by myself. So I started pushing to do freelance as soon as I moved out here to London. And I've been pretty busy. So I've
Yeah,
been,
I don't do that because yeah, I did freelance a bit, like a year or two into working at Adam Hawk, and
yeah,
like I couldn't keep it up after a while, so I was just too exhausted. It's like, okay, I'm working like a full day, and then I'm just doing more
yeah,
work that's not mine after. It's like
yeah, yeah.
I can do personal work just fine, but yeah, I started getting like really burnt out from the work stuff.
Yeah,
But
I felt that. The only upside is that the projects I've worked on are coming out within either a few months or within the year,
mhm,
and that's been beneficial because I mean
that's cool.
the game we've been working on has been like it's been years working on this game, and so like that could happen with video game development is you could be on a project for years and there'll be nothing to show you know
Yeah,
um, but I've been busy, and I've just been trying to transition more into my own personal projects at this point.
that's
Um,
cool.
I'll leave the conversation with this. We'll talk about a little bit here, but do you have to go, or do you? I want to. Okay,
No, no,
okay,
I'm
cool.
good to keep going.
So I'm about to say a topic which everyone always talks about with me. It's frustrating, but I want to do my own thing just in case the company I work for is pushing me to use too much AI. So I want
Hmm.
to build up something of my own that I can do that no one's going to tell me how to do it. I could just do it on my own.
Yeah,
So that to me that's a comic. So I'm working on a comic right now,
that's
and
cool.
that's kind of like my side project. And the goal is do a few sample pages, try and get it a publisher attached, and do some get it done professionally. Like even if I don't get a publisher attached, I'm going to finish the issue on my own regardless. But
Hmm.
I had a friend of mine I visited recently, and he was like, "If you want me to light a fire under your ass, I can. You could submit 5 pages, and I'll push it to this publisher I know." And I was like, "Oh shit!" I was like, "Okay."
Oh, that's cool.
So I was like, "Great." So like, I'll do that. But I really wanted to turn into something where like I'm doing my own project, kind of being my own boss, at least in some aspect of my life. And I mean, like I said, I'm a partner of the company I'm at, so technically I'm my own boss. But it's different because that company's like we're a video game company, and it's not my company that I founded, or anything. It's like it's different. If
Hmm.
it's my comic, it's my own story. I do everything myself. But
I think it's super important to have that kind of thing, like your own, just your own thing that you control. Because I mean, like the so we're talking earlier about like
yeah,
yeah, like the dream is to have like an art job or whatever, like make a living doing it. But the thing I found is even when I got to work on projects that were like, on paper, it's everything that I would want to work on.
yeah,
It still wasn't. It still wasn't the thing that made me really happy. Like the thing that makes me really happy is just doing my own thing because
yeah,
there's always like some, you're not in control of like the things that happen in
yeah,
a game or a thing where it's somebody else calling the shots.
yeah,
So doing my own personal projects is like, yeah, it's where I can just do whatever the heck I want, and I just find like a ton of joy in that, just
yeah.
creating for myself.
That's
I think
like no one can tell you
mm,
how to do it either. Like
yeah,
no one's gonna say, Russell, you should be using nano banana on this
yeah,
project, Russell. Why haven't you been using seed dance to animate your project like a movie, Russell? Like there's
yeah, exactly.
no one telling you how to do it, or like you could just say, hey, I just want to paint my own project and that's how I do it. And
Hmm.
if you want more of this, I gotta paint it. You know, but
Yeah, that's why I think it's always kind of sad, like when people I don't know, you see this sometimes where a person will make their whole artistic identity like around a company.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Like, they'll do art that it's like, oh, like my whole thing is like Blizzard or
yeah,
Riot, and I just
yeah.
do art in that style, and I just draw their characters, and
It's like it's extreme. It's like Blizzard, Riot, or Naughty Dog. I feel like those are the big ones I
yeah,
hear.
it's like it's so you're not in control. Like that's so easy for that to be pulled away from you. Like,
Yeah,
you can get a job there, or the company could even just like go under before you ever get a job there, and you don't have any of your own identity. Like
yeah.
I don't know. It's just kind
I
of sad. It makes you're just putting your fate in the hands of something else.
yeah. I've always been. I mean, if you want to get a job at the place, you got to do the style they do. But you got to ask yourself, is this all I want to do forever? Is this the only thing I want to
Yeah,
do? Because that's what if either you're gonna. The thing is, with most video game industry stuff now, you're not going to be there forever. You're probably going to get laid off. You're probably going to be there for maybe like 2 5 years. If you're lucky, like me, maybe 10. But like you're
mhm,
probably going to get laid off because either the project's going to be canceled or the project will come out and they'll be done with the project and they'll be like, well, we finished it. We don't need you anymore.
yeah,
And that's just kind of how it works right now. And then, I mean, even like I know Blizzard and Riot, they're both using lots of AI now. So if you don't want to use AI, if you're adamantly against using AI, you probably don't want to work for those companies because they're going to make you use AI. And that's something to consider.
yeah,
It's something to consider realistically. If you're really adamant and you're like, I'm absolutely against AI, where it's like, well, you don't want to work at Riot because they're using AI, and you don't want to work at like Blizzard because they're using AI. They have their own AI systems they're developed. Um, so what do you want to do literally? What do you probably want to work at like a. I think most people right now, if they really think about it, they probably want to work at like a small indie studio that they could do
I think
their own
that's
style.
stable, honestly. Yeah, that seems like where better things are happening is
Yeah,
an indie.
more
And
unique style, more unique
mhm,
opportunities. They're not gonna. I mean, unless the indie studio is founded on the fact they're using AI, they're probably not going to force you to use AI because a lot of indie studios are trying to maybe take a stance to say, "Hey, we did this. It's all human made. No AI was used." Um,
mhm,
and it depends really. Too. I know it's different with like the coding people. Like the coding people, like the AI has changed the game completely for them. It's different. Um, but
yeah,
I don't know. It's AI talk. That's the number one topic. At least recently, I haven't spoken to anyone that brought it up to me. But like for the last few years, when I mentioned I did illustration or concept art, the number one thing people brought up to me was like, "What do you think about AI?"
yeah.
And I was just so sick of talking about it, and I was like,
It's definitely exhausting there for a
"Yeah,
while. Like it was
it's
pretty constant.
yeah." I'm like, at this point, what I think about AI is that there's a lot of companies that are going to start using AI regardless of what people want to or not want to. There's a lot of companies in the film industry that are going to start using AI.
Mhm,
There's definitely like, I'm pretty positive because Marvel laid off all their artists. They're probably going to be hiring people to use AI to do the Marvel movies. So it's going to be harder and harder to find things that aren't AI, but it's
yeah,
not going to be impossible. And I think that like you don't really have to use it. Like I had to test out different AI systems at work, um,
mhm,
because my employer was like, I don't want you to test out what could we do with this stuff, and I was like, all right. What I found is that you should. I mentioned this before to you. I think last night is it's
mhm.
important to understand what it is in order for you to make your argument against it if you really are against it. You got to kind
Yeah,
of
exactly.
understand what it is. You can't just say I don't like it and you have no clue about anything. That like you can't just be like I just don't like it. You got to say why you don't like it. In my case, I gave it a shot. I've tried it, at the workplace a couple times, and I prefer not to use it. I really don't enjoy using it. I feel like I'm wasting time using it when I could be doing other things. And I just avoid using it at all costs. That's kind of where I currently am. I avoid using it at all costs, and I just don't want to use it. And I think if push comes to shove, I want to do my own project on my own terms, where no one's going to
Mhm.
tell me how to do it. That includes using
Yeah,
AI, right? But anyway, yeah, um, that's my thoughts on that. I don't know. You said you played around with it, or I think everyone played around with it when it first came out.
yeah. Like when I was first around, I played around with it a bit,
Yeah,
and then I was like, I'm not really interested. And then later on, I tried it again.
yeah,
Um, because it was updating quite a bit there for a while. Like at first, it was just very abstract outputs and
yeah. I
very
liked it. I
janky.
liked it more when it was weird shit that was coming
Oh,
out.
you do. Yeah, it's more interesting then to me
Yeah,
because you it's kind of like that what is like Rorschach or whatever. Like you get
Rorschach.
you get
Yeah,
weird things. Yeah, like you can get weird things that you could see something else in, like looking at
yeah.
clouds or
That
whatever.
was that was.
But
I had fun the very first. I think it was one of the first years it came out. I
mhm,
was using Mid Journey, and I was typing in stuff that I knew it didn't know. Like I knew it had no clue what I was saying, so I was like, "Make me a necromancer," and there was not enough data for it to, or no, a lich. I was like, "Make me a lich." There wasn't enough data in the set yet to like do a
mhm,
lich. It gave me this weird amalgamation of stuff that I was like, okay, kind of doesn't know what it's doing, but it was more interesting to me at that point, and it's only gotten more and more boring to me now. And so it's like even if you were
yeah,
even if you were wanting to use it, I feel like it's just boring to use. Personally, having had to use it, um, yeah, I don't know.
yeah. Like ethics aside, the only thing I could see it being useful for is like very photoreal
Yeah,
things like that where you'd be photo bashing anyway.
yeah, yeah,
Like you and to be honest, I really don't even like photo bashing. Like I've had to do a fair bit, but I'm kind of I'm kind of bad at photo bashing, so I just like paint over everything anyway.
I
So I
prefer
like the aesthetic better.
at this point for me, if I've got the time, I like doing a ZBrush block out, and then I paint over the
Oh,
ZBrush block
cool.
out. But I prefer making things, and I enjoy the process of creating art. And yeah, it's just weird being in the industry. It's hard for me to like not acknowledge it because it is going to be part of the industry whether people like it or not. Um, and so that just
Yeah.
kind of sets me up for
Mm.
what I want to do. You know?
Yeah, I mean, the most important thing is like if I don't know, it's like anything you're afraid of, you should learn about so you're not
Yeah,
afraid of it anymore.
yeah, yeah,
And
definitely.
that's kind of why I dipped into it there for a bit and was like, okay, like what would be the things this could be useful for, and like what does not like suck at. Like
Yeah,
that was important for me to figure out, and I tried it and care for it.
yeah, yeah,
Don't like it, and then yeah, just moved on after. But
yeah. It's just it's its own thing, but yeah. I had one more question for you.
Mhm.
If you were never an artist, if you this is alternate universe, you grew up and you're not an artist, what would you be doing for a living?
Hmm. Uh, I was thinking that like the only other thing I was thinking about doing maybe was being like a plumber or something.
Wow, I don't
Yeah,
know.
because I just like I did like plumbing around my mom's place a fair bit. Like whenever anything broke, I'd like just fix it. But yeah, that's like the only other thing I think I might be doing.
Wow. Okay.
But
I
yeah.
would best I would probably be like chef or cook, like a line cook or something. I like cooking a
Oh,
lot.
okay,
Um,
that's cool.
I like cooking a lot, and I enjoy learning how to be a better cook. And so I feel like if I couldn't do illustration, I'd want to do like food somehow, which I know is also a terrible hard industry to like be successful in because
Yeah.
they get paid shit too. Um, but it's something that's the other like that. I guess writing, maybe writing would probably be something I do. But like
Something creative. Seems like.
It would be something creative still, but something that like I like things that push you to like a skill based job where like you can become
Mhm.
better at the skill, like you can become really good at cutting things with your knife and knowing when to cook things just the right way, and like seasoning really well. Like it's very similar to art where you're like, I know if I put this color next to that color, it's gonna look cool. Like it's just like,
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, I think that's kind of yeah, that's kind of what I would do. So you're a plumber and I'm a cook in this next life.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. I think we should wrap it up here. We're almost at 2 hours, and I think it's a good time. Um,
All right, sounds good.
one question for you too. Who, if I could reach out and talk to anyone else on this thing, who would you want me to talk to? Who do you think would be cool to hear from?
Hmm.
It could be
Uh,
any artist. Like it doesn't have to be concept. It could be comic book or whatever, animation.
shoot, I'm trying to think of who would be cool. Um, so it'd be interesting somebody that's not obvious.
Cool. Okay.
Um, gosh, I can't think of somebody. Brent would be pretty cool actually. If you can
Oh
get Brent
yeah,
Hollowell,
yeah. It's
I'd like to
actually
hear what he's up to and what he's doing these days. That'd be
Brent
cool.
Hollowell. Okay, I'll reach out and see if I can't get them on. It's going to be easier the more of these I do because I'll be able to provide proof of what I'm doing. um,
Yeah.
it's hard. The first person's the hardest because they're like, "You're gonna just record me and put me online." Like what? Like have you done this before? I'm like no. I reached out to Wes Burt about a year ago. I was like, "Hey, can I
Hmm.
like talk to you and like interview you and put it online?" But I had no track record of doing any kind of podcast or recording. He like notoriously doesn't do these things. Um, I don't think he like chooses to. I just don't think he. I don't know. He just never does these kind of things. So like, I was like, it'd be so cool to hear Wes Burt talk about stuff. So
Yeah, it's pretty rare.
he's my
He did
white
one with
whale.
Underpaint a while ago. Like they did a couple years ago, they did like a little talk thing, but that's like the only one I've seen. And
Underpaint. I'll look that up. Look up Underpaint.
uh,
I would love to chat with him. He's so nice, and I met him a couple of times, but I'd love to talk with him
oh,
and
cool.
um, get to know his story a little better, and then we'll see. He's my white whale. So I got a few people lined up. So if you're listening to this, um, I don't know when the next recording is coming out. To be honest, I'm gonna put this one out probably. I got some songs coming in from a friend of mine, so those are gonna be my intro and outro songs. And so once I get the music, I'll put this on the recording, and I'll put it online. And Russell, I'll tag you in it, and I'll probably take some snippets and like do some kind of like social media reels with the snippets, and
Cool.
I'll tag you as like a like a collaborator. So you'll have the sound bites to like post, and like I'll try and find the good ones, and then but yeah, so that's going to be happening. I don't know if I should say who I want to like. I'm already in talks with two other artists. We just got to schedule things out. So coming soon at some point in the future, Dan Warren, not Dan Warren, the comic artist, Daniel Warren, the illustrator, which obviously sounds like the same person, but um, Dan and Dave of Dave and Dan fame, the Dan Warren specifically from that duo, Crimson Dagger's Dan, if you know what I'm talking about. I'm in talks to chat with him. He's been really busy recently though, and then I'm in talks to chat with Alex Konstad, but again, he's very busy man. So I'm just trying to get schedules down for them, but they'll be coming out at some point in the future. I have no idea when. But Russell, thanks for chatting with me today.
Yeah,
Um,
thanks for having me.
it's been great talking to one of my oldest art friends, really, at this point. Um, when we
It's
started
crazy
right at the same time.
thinking back. Like
Yeah,
it, it's kind of sad how many. I don't know. There's not that many people that are still doing this from that time. It feels like
Yeah,
common names from the forum and whatnot. Like
yeah,
I get why like life happens and people drop off, and it is really really difficult to keep going for you know however many years. But
yeah,
yeah, it's cool. It's cool to have somebody that's like stuck around. So
yeah. And
yeah.
I'll keep in touch on the Discord, and we can maybe chat on some streams in the future because I want to get back into doing some more community stuff. This is part of that. I want to
Mhm.
like provide something for the community, and hopefully people enjoy this. If you are watching this on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, but specifically put a comment down of who you might want to hear on the interview, and I will try and track them down as best I can. And oh, you know what? Rob Bliss. I think he's here in the UK. I'd love to talk to him. He worked on all the Harry
Oh, that'd
Potter
be cool.
films. He did all the Harry Potter films. He did like the Joker masks from the Dark Knight, the Joker masks.
Yeah, I saw him posting that stuff the other day. That'd be really cool to have
Yeah.
him on.
So I'll try and get him on. I've never. I need to like email him to see if he'd be available, but I could send him this and maybe he can understand. But anyway, I'm gonna stop the recording now. So thanks, Russell. And do you want people to follow you or
Mhm.
anything? Is there anything we should know about?
Uh, Not really. I mean, you could just, I guess you just, you just, yeah,
don't even don't
stay
even
away from me.
don't even don't even follow him. Forget you ever
I don't
heard
know.
this.
Yeah. I guess you just put a link or something to my stuff, but
I'll
yeah.
I'll link all of your stuff in the info down below, or if you're listening to this on a podcast, it'll be in the show notes. And if you're listening to this on my website for some reason, he's got images in the blog. I'll have all that posted when this goes out. And thanks again, Russell, for chatting with me. Hopefully, no one will
Yeah.
follow you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop the recording now.